MD Now. I'm your host, Dr. Peter Glidden. I bring 24 years of clinical experience with licensed naturopathic medicine to bear on what it is that we talk about here on the radio. There are less than 4,000 licensed naturopathic physicians in the entire country, less than 100 still practicing, who have more than 20 years of clinical experience, and I'm one of them. Naturopathic physicians are your go-to people for all things having to do with non-drug, science-based, clinically verified, non-drug therapeutics. In this first segment, I'd like to talk about kidney stones. We have a caller from Texas calling about kidney stones. I'll bring her up in a second. I just want to give you the background on this because it really is a great subject to outline what's going on with medicine and why it's so unbelievably poor here in the United States. So your MD, who has no training, no clinical experience, no appreciation, and no really even respect for medical nutrition, 0 hours of training in medical nutrition, is completely clueless when it comes to kidney stones, because the main reason that kidney stones form is nutrient deficiencies. Let me explain that. Most kidney stones are calcium oxalate stones, calcium and oxalate. Well, where does the calcium come from? Well, it comes from your bones. An MD will tell you that you have kidney stones because there's too much calcium in your body. This is virtually impossible to do. I mean, even with extremely high-quality calcium supplements, it is virtually impossible to overload your body with calcium, because what you don't need, your body just gets rid of. And quite frankly, most over-the-counter calcium supplements are so unbelievably poorly digested and poorly assimilated that in order to even approximate getting what a medical doctor would refer to as too much calcium, you'd need to swallow 3 or 4 bottles of calcium supplements a day. Now, I'm talking 180, 240 calcium capsules a day. Most people take 3. It's impossible to overdose with calcium. I've never seen it. I've never, ever seen it, and I've been doing this for 24 years. However, it is extremely easy, plausible, possible, and it happens all the time, to not have enough calcium in your body. When you burn somebody's body, when you cremate a dead body, between 1/3 and 1/5 of the ash that's left, the ash, the cremation ash, 1/3 to 1/5 of it is calcium. Your body has massive needs for calcium. Massive needs for calcium. It needs calcium for healthy bones. It needs calcium for healthy joints. It needs calcium for a healthy heart. It needs calcium for healthy blood pressure. There are 278 diseases, kidney stones being one of them, which are caused by not enough calcium. Your body has massive needs for calcium. And for an MD or a nurse or any medical practitioner whatsoever, I don't care what the letters after their name are, to tell you that you're taking too much supplemental calcium, that's grounds to have their license revoked, because that's like a medical doctor telling you that, you got the bird flu because of a voodoo curse, or you got pneumonia because you were spirits. Your body has been possessed by an evil spirit. That's why you have pneumonia. It's nonsense. It's just nonsense. It's not true. It's patently false. It's a lie. It's juvenile, and it's nonsense. Medical doctors, again, having no training, no appreciation, no respect for clinical nutrition, have no business giving anybody advice about anything having to do with nutrition or vitamins at all, and yet they do it all of the time. You need to hold their feet to their fire when they do it and ask them to provide the documentation which backs up such ridiculous claims. Now, here's how it goes in the human body. Your body has massive amounts of calcium that it needs. Calcium is a mineral. The only person that can make minerals is God. Minerals exist in the soil or the water. If minerals exist in the water, it's because they washed there out of the soil. If your cow is eating grass that's grown in soil that is calcium deplete, the cow's milk is going to be depleted in calcium. Plants can't make calcium, so if your carrot is growing in soil that doesn't have enough calcium in it, there's going to be hardly any calcium in that carrot, if any at all. So this is the key factor here to understand. Our bodies need minerals. There are 60 essential minerals that the human body needs. Calcium is one of them. And it is virtually impossible to supply the body with all of the calcium that it needs every day to maintain its health just from eating from the 4 food groups. Because if the food or the drink that you're eating or drinking is grown in soil that was calcium deplete, there's no calcium in that food or the drink, or there's very, very little, and this is the problem. So most people in the United States are deficient in calcium. They don't have an excess of calcium. But a medical doctor will draw their blood, and son of a gun, the blood levels of calcium are elevated. Well, what's going on? Well, if you're a knucklehead MD with a brain the size of a period on a printed page, then you're going to misinterpret those findings, and MDs misinterpret findings all of the time. They got heartburn backwards. They got kidney stones backwards. They got high blood pressure backwards. They've gotten a lot of things backwards. This is a classic ass-backwards MD interpretation of basic elementary human anatomy and biochemistry. So here's how it goes. You're eating food that is deficient in calcium. You're eating food that's deficient in calcium Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You get the picture. Your food is deficient in calcium all of the time. So your body, after a couple of days of this nonsense, burns through what little calcium stores it has, if any. And now it needs calcium. But you're not importing calcium into the body because it's not in the food and you're not taking the correct supplement. So your body has a calcium deficiency. This sends up a red flag. Your body responds and says, holy smokes, we need calcium. So a little gland on the side of your thyroid secretes a hormone called parathormone. It's your parathyroid gland. Parathormone goes into the blood and pulls calcium out of your bones. Because, you got a lot of calcium in your bones, hopefully. You got a lot of calcium in your bones. It pulls calcium out of your bones. Now, when this consistently happens every day, for weeks and weeks at a time, you are calcium deficient all of the time, 24/7. After a while, the parathyroid gland says, screw it, and it gives up. And instead of secreting just a little bit of its hormone, it dumps all of its hormone all the time into the blood, which draws massive amounts of calcium out of your bones, flooding your skeleton, flooding your blood with calcium that it robbed from your bones. So you draw somebody's blood in a situation like this, and look, the calcium's elevated. Well, why is it elevated? The doctor will tell you it's because you're eating too much calcium, but they're completely wrong. It's because you're not eating enough. Because your body is calling on itself to rob calcium. And this is what floods the market. You know how many calcium supplements you would need to swallow in order to flood your blood with this much calcium? Massive amounts. 3 or 4 bottles. I'm talking 240 capsules all at once. You couldn't even do that if you tried. And yet, the MD will tell you this is why. And it's nonsense. It's just nonsense. So now you have all of this calcium in your blood all of the time. And, it shouldn't be there. It's incorrect. So your blood passes through the kidneys. Your kidney filters your blood. That's its job. That's so important. You've got 2 of them. But now you've got blood that's loaded with calcium. So guess what happens? The massive amounts of calcium that's in your blood, proportionately speaking, clogs up in the kidneys, accumulates, creates a kidney stone. Now it takes years for kidney stones to form. Months to years. Kidney stones don't just form overnight. It takes a very long time. It's kind of like, the growth of a tumor. It doesn't just happen overnight. It takes a long time for that to develop. Well, it's the same with the kidney stone. So over time, kidney stones will grow and grow and grow in the kidney. And you can live a long and healthy and happy life with stones in the kidney, no problem. Now, rarely the stone gets so big that it starts to become a problem and the kidney can't function because it's got this giant stone in the kidney. And under circumstances like that, sometimes surgery is necessary. But I'm going to tell you a story. I had a patient in his early 70s. He came to see me with a large kidney stone. And his doctor advised him surgery because that's all that the doctor knows. Oh, look, buddy, you know, this kidney stone's too big. You're going to have to get it surgically removed. And he said, well, okay, but I've been planning this trip out of the country with my wife for a long time, and we're set to go next week. So I'd like to schedule the surgery for when I come back. The doctor said, no problem. Why did the doctor say no problem? Because he probably could have lived his entire life with that kidney stone, but the doctor needed to make money because, you know, medicine in the United States is a for-profit industry. It is. The doctor will recommend surgery even when surgery is not indicated. And oftentimes, you know, in fairness, that's all that they know. And so really in their minds they think, well, son of a gun, you got to have the surgery, so just pony up and do it. So he said, all right, we're going to do the surgery, you know, 6 to 8 weeks from now. So he came to see me a couple days before he went on the trip. And I gave him my medical nutrition program and a couple of herbs to take on the trip. And he was very faithful to the program, took all of the supplements. It's not hard, by the way. We're talking a handful of supplements in the morning with breakfast, a handful of supplements at night before bed. He comes back from the vacation, goes in for the preoperative surgery, and the kidney stone is gone. He passed the kidney stone without even knowing that he passed the kidney stone because of the positive action of my nutritional supplements. This is what we do, ladies and gentlemen. Not only do we know the actual causative factor, the genesis of most chronic disease, which your MD is completely blind to, but we deliver science-based, clinically verified alternatives to drugs and surgery that actually produce results. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go right to the telephones and talk to Gloria from Texas, who's calling in with a kidney stone question. Gloria, you're live with Dr. Glidden. Welcome aboard.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. Thank you for taking my call. Yes, I just found out this morning that I do have a kidney stone. I had a really bad urinary tract infection the end of May. I was sick with fever, chills, and everything. For the last 3 weeks, I have been on the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack and also extra Cal Toddy at night, glucogel 16 a day. And the last 3 days, I've been taking selenium, Ultimate Daily, and de-stress. I also take enzymes and probiotics.
Well, you're the smartest girl in class. I mean, that's a perfect program. Who taught you that program?
My son, Josh Conley. He's probably listening. He met you in South Carolina.
Well, now he's the smartest man in class. Okay, great. So, yeah, that's a perfect program. Now, how do you feel?
Just the backache won't go away. It's just that's why I went in for the ultrasound. But now the doctor's telling me he wants me in next week for an x-ray, which I really don't want to do.
All right, so look, let's not do that yet because, look, that's all that they know, right?
Right.
And now be advised, there's a little tube that goes from your kidney all the way to your bladder, right? It's about 2.5, 3 feet long, depending on how big of a person you are. And it's called the ureter. And I'm going to sneeze here. Hold on. Gesundheit.
Bless you.
That ureter is like a straw, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not rigid like a straw, but it has about the diameter of a straw, more or less. Now, if you tried to force a frozen pea through a straw, it would take a long time to get that pea through the straw, wouldn't it?
Right.
Well, when you pass a kidney stone, depending on how big the kidney stone is, as it's passing through that tube on the way to your bladder, it can be an extremely painful experience. I mean, I've had people need morphine, writhing in pain on the floor because of this. I've also had people like that patient that I just described to you who didn't feel a thing. He passed a big kidney stone, didn't feel a thing. Now, the people that were writhing on the floor hadn't talked to me previously. You know, they had just lived with the kidney stone, and then they passed it. It happened to my brother, for goodness sake. So, in addition to what you're doing right now, there's one other thing that you can do, and you're not going to find it inside the Longevity family of products, okay? All right, there's a botanical medicine, an herbal tincture. It's called Berberis vulgaris. Let me spell that for you. It's B like baby, E-R, B like baby, E-R-I-S, Berberis, B-E-R-B-E-R-I-S, vulgaris. V like Victor, U-L, G-A-R-U-S, I think, Berberis vulgaris, or maybe it's I-S. Berberis vulgaris. You want to get your hands on a tincture, a liquid tincture of Berberis vulgaris, and you want to take 20 drops 3 times a day. 20 drops orally 3 times a day. Now, make it easier on yourself. Do 1 teaspoon 3 times a day. 1 teaspoon 3 times a day of the Berberis vulgaris tincture. Now, what that can do is help that ureter, that little straw, so to speak, dilate so that as your body eliminates the stone, it passes down the stone with little or no pain or inflammation. Does that make sense?
That's what I'm hoping for.
All right. Now, there's a homeopathic medicine you can also get, and then you can get this at any Whole Foods or any health food store. It's called belladonna. That's homeopathic belladonna. B like baby, E-L-L-A, D like David, O-N-N-A, belladonna. Get it in the 30C strength, C like Charlie, belladonna 30C, and take 2 pellets orally every hour. Do that for 1 day. Don't do it for more than 1 day. Take 2 pellets orally every hour and see if that facilitates the backache, which would mean it's facilitating the passage of the kidney stone. The Berberis vulgaris is almost a perfect fix for this program. I've seen that therapy do wonderful things. Sometimes it's hard to find that tincture. So if you can't find it locally, you should be able to find it online somewhere. Berberis vulgaris and belladonna. Check it out. You're going to love how you feel. And remember, you can't never unsurgery something. So we always leave surgery for the absolute last resort. We're going to start my health education class every day of the week. Next week, we're going to talk about a different aspect of health. And Monday, we're going to kick it off with talking about why gluten is bad, and then we're going to take it right from there. We're going to run it right through the end of this month to give you a basic understanding of the stuff that you need to do in order to secure your health right now. So school begins Monday. Tell your friends and family, your church members, and your community members to tune in, because the stuff I'm going to be talking about in the next 2 weeks is going to be very specific, and it can save lives. No kidding. Let's go right back to the phones. I believe we have David from Utah calling with a question about his son. Welcome aboard, David. You're live with Dr. Glidden.
Thank you. I'm calling about my 25-year-old son. He's a river guide. He was hiking in the Grand Canyon when he had sharp pains in his chest, and his heart rhythm and rate became irregular and elevated, very rapid. Because of the train and where they were, it was probably 7 to 8 hours before he was able to get to Flagstaff, Arizona by life flight. And at that time, when he was checked in, his pulse rate was 220 beats per minute. They stabilized him, put him on IV, did an EKG, observed overnight. I don't have very much information, but they did say there was enzyme leakage.
Yeah.
So the next morning, a cardiologist wanted to run a stress test, which he declined because Thursday morning he was still had his chest was sore.
Yeah.
And it was uncomfortable to take a deep breath.
Yeah, you don't want to get on a treadmill and run uphill with that type of a situation. The doctor should have had his head examined to want a stress test. I agree. Last night he had a good night's sleep, and he said he feels normal. He can take deep breaths, but I thought the last incident he had something similar to this was 5 years ago, but I guess it's happened twice since then. So I wanted to see about setting up a protocol for him, because I know if I don't have something to present him, he'll end up going back to cardiologist again. All right. Well, look, understand, contemporary American medicine is good for diagnostic stuff most of the time. You know, when the MDs have a clue of what they're looking for and they don't go overboard with their diagnostic stuff, which oftentimes they do. You know, they'll order CT scans or cardiac stress tests or, you know, as many tests as they possibly can in order to pad the bill. But when they're not doing that, the diagnostic stuff that they have is, some of it is pretty good. And now if you've had enzymes, if you had enzyme leakage, that means you had a heart attack. And when you have a heart attack and then you've had symptoms historically which mimic it, you know, he's probably had multiple heart attacks. And what does this mean? Does this mean that he has a bad gene? No. What it means is that his body has lost the raw materials that it needs in order to keep his heart nice and healthy. His body has lost the raw materials that it needs to keep his heart nice and healthy. This is the only reason that we generate acute or chronic illnesses. You know, if you're having heart trouble, whatever it is, whether it's an acute myocardial infarction, whether it's a calcified artery, whether it's a artery that's clogged with cholesterol, whether it's an enlarged heart, whether it's an irregular heartbeat or high blood pressure, all of these things all trace back to nutrient deficiencies, right? So I know that your son has the weak link in his chain right now is his heart, his cardiovascular system. Thank God he's under, you know, medical care, because if he has a heart attack while he's under medical care, they can save lives. That's what they're good at. You know, they're good at acute trauma stuff. You know, they can save lives like that, which is why one of the fortes of, you know, contemporary American medicine is battlefield medicine, ironically enough, right? So what we do in situations like this is, you know, do we need complicated lab tests? No. Do we need a cardiac stress test? No. Do we need to stick a catheter, you know, in his leg and put a scope up and check out, you know, if his arteries are clogged or not? No. Because what we do is simply provide his body with the raw materials that it needs to have a healthy heart. We support and promote his body's ability to fix itself. We support and promote his body's ability to have a strong and healthy heart. And here's how we do that. How much does your son weigh, by the way? Do you know?
200 pounds.
I'm sorry, I missed that. How much?
He's 6'4", 200 pounds.
Okay, all right, good. Now, did this last thing happen when he was hiking in summertime?
Yeah, it happened Wednesday.
Yeah, and he was out in the wilderness hiking around?
In the Grand Canyon.
Oh, yeah, okay. So one of the most common things to go wrong with somebody's heart of this nature is caused by deficiency in multiple minerals, especially selenium, which is interesting to think about because when you sweat or perspire, and, you know, I don't care what's causing it. I don't care if you're in a hot yoga class or if you're hiking in the Grand Canyon in the summer or if you're doing aerobics, right? If you're on a treadmill at the gym. When your body is sweating, you're sweating out minerals and nutrients. You're not just sweating out salt and potassium. You're sweating out a mineral soup. And a lot of times, acute conditions like this will pop up after somebody has been exerting themselves, either with exercise or with hiking or even just hunting or camping, you know, depending on the weather, right? So that was probably the mitigating cause, was the amount of sweat that was happening. So in any event, the 200-pound dose to support and promote a healthy heart would be 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month. 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month. In addition to that, I'm going to recommend 2 extra bottles of selenium. So that's 2 healthy brain and heart packs and 2 bottles of ultimate selenium per month. 2 healthy brain and heart packs and 2 bottles of ultimate selenium a month. Have him do that for 4 weeks, and he should notice a difference. You know, kid who's in his 20s, who's 6 feet, 200 pounds, which sounds like a very good weight for him. You know, his body doesn't have a lot of excess body fat. His metabolism is probably good. So he's going to feel the effects of this relatively quickly, right? So within 4 weeks, there should be a noticeable, measurable improvement here. And in order to increase the effectiveness of this, what you want to do is make sure that he's avoiding the 10 foods that we have categorized as bad for you, okay? And you can get that list for free just by going to fireyourmdnow.com. And right there on the front page, if you opt in for my email list, we automatically send you that for free, plus a little video that explains why these foods are bad, so it's a win-win. So avoid those 10 foods, okay, and give him 2 healthy brain and heart packs and 2 extra bottles of selenium for 4 weeks, and see if he notices a positive improvement, and then call me back with a report. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, he does this professionally. He's a river guide, so he starts out in April. So you know, he's in condition. He's lean. He's probably 6% body fat or whatever that is. And
yeah, but here's an interesting statistic for you, okay? And this is kind of counterintuitive until you reason it through. There's never been a professional athlete that's lived to be over 100, and these people are paid to exercise.
Right.
Now, the human body has the genetic potential to make it to 120 years of age. And there are some third world countries where the majority of their population lives to be over 100 easily, and they're healthy. But in the United States, man, we're lucky if we make it to 76, right? Even if we're a professional athlete. That's because when you work with your body, you know, you're an athlete or you're a laborer. You know, you're a river rafter, or you work iron, you know, or, you know, you're a roofer, or you're a carpenter. When you're working with your body, you tear your body down with the exercise, and then your body tries to build itself up after the exercise, right? That's how you get strong. But your body needs nutrients to build itself up. So if you're not supplementing and you have an active lifestyle, it is only a matter of time until your body breaks down. Now, the corollary is also true. When people who are using their bodies physically, you know, either because of what they do for a job or because they're athletes or whatever, they just like to work out. When you start to supplement appropriately and you work out, or you're working with your body every day, you're going to be Superman or Superwoman. Because it's going to be the first time in your life that your body has had the stuff that it needs to fix itself after the exertion. So really, he's going to love the way that he feels when he starts this program. His endurance is going to improve. His energy is going to improve. His little aches and pains that he's kind of forgotten about, they're going to go away too. This is a very good, comprehensive program. So get him started on it. Give me a call back in about 4 weeks with a report, and I appreciate your call. Thanks so much. Pat's up next. Pat from Texas. We got a couple minutes here. You're live with Dr. Glidden. Thanks for calling.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. I am, remind you, a 68-year-old sickle cell patient. I have bronchitis right now, and you put me on a new program because of the loose stools, and that was Formula Plus, Supercell Protector, the Flora FX, and the Maki Plus. I need to know what to do for the bronchitis and how much of that to take to keep the blood thing going and all the other good stuff going.
You're taking selenium, right?
And I am taking selenium.
How much?
I'm taking 6 a day, Cal Toddy.
Okay, great. All right, so, you know, bronchitis, that's an acute thing, right? How long have you had bronchitis?
About 2 weeks now.
Do you know why you got it?
No, I've been trying to figure it out, though.
Yeah, well, was somebody sneezing in your face, or did somebody in your family have it?
I'm always around people who got stuff, things like that.
Are you a nurse?
I am not, but I am highly susceptible since my blood count was, my hemoglobin was 7 point something.
Yeah, right, yeah. So you can look at somebody on TV and catch it, right?
That's right. That's
all right. So here's the deal. The immune system, interestingly enough, is made from protein, right? So that's an interesting thing to talk about. So whenever you're dealing with a cold or, you know, bronchitis or an infection of any sort, it's prudent to increase your consumption of protein. And the food that's the easiest protein for your body to absorb, as a matter of fact, it is the protein that all other proteins are compared to, is the lowly chicken egg. So I'm going to recommend that you just increase your consumption of chicken eggs. And I'm going to tell you is one other supplement you can do to support and promote your lung health in the face of a diagnosis of bronchitis. We're talking to Pat from Texas about what she should do for bronchitis. So in addition to increasing your protein consumption, which will in turn strengthen your immune system, interestingly enough, you also need to, while you're in the face of an infection, eliminate anything that's overly sweet. So no orange juice, right? Not even orange juice. This is one of the biggest myths in popular medical culture that, oh, orange juice, you need the vitamin C in the orange juice to help you get over a cold. Well, vitamin C is going to help a little bit, but all of the fructose that's in orange juice, because it's concentrated juice, it's a lot of sugar, man. And sugar in large amounts, not in normal amounts, but in concentrated amounts like you found in candy bars or juice or desserts or ice cream or stuff like this. Sugar puts a part of your immune system to sleep. There's a little microorganism called a macrophage, and the macrophage is like little Miss Pac-Man. It goes through your blood eating up virus and bacteria particles. Well, when there's too much sugar in the blood, I don't care if it's fructose or sucrose or glucose or galactose or whatever the heck it is, if there's too much of it in the blood, that little macrophage goes to sleep, which allows the virus or the bacteria more room to feed and breed, right? So one of the worst things you can do to help yourself recover from an acute cold or infection like bronchitis is drink orange juice, for goodness sake. So we have to have a prohibition across the board on anything extra sweet, increase your protein. And you want to get from Youngevity the Killer Biotic. The Killer Biotic is a really great product to have on hand in your medicine chest. And when you're sick, take 6 Killer Biotic a day, 2 with breakfast, 2 with lunch, and 2 with dinner. It's a combination of herbs, which kills bugs, number one, and number 2, it strengthens your immune system. So if you do the Killer Biotic and the no sugar and the protein, you should be good to go, Pat, and that's a good recipe for success. Sound good?
Okay, yes. How many eggs and how much Formula Plus and Super Shell?
Oh, well, what's the, you mean the Flora FX?
No, the Formula Plus, because I couldn't take the VTT or the Tropical Plus.
Oh, yeah. How much do you weigh?
100.
All right, so it's 1 ounce a day. It's 1 ounce a day of the Ultra Body Toddy with Cell Shield, right?
No, you gave me Formula Plus with Super Shell Protector, 2 different items.
Yeah, okay. So the Formula Plus is liquid or capsules?
It's capsules.
Yeah, okay. So the Formula Plus you do 6 a day.
Okay.
And the Cell Shield do 3 a day.
Okay.
At your body weight, that's all that you need. And you know that you shouldn't need the Killer Biotic in this regard for more than maybe 7 days max. Okay. That's really a great product. You might even be able to 100 pounds to get away at 1 capsule 3 times a day. It's hard to overdo it with those herbs. I don't recommend people do that for more than 10 days in a row. But typically, when you start that program, that's all you need because you get right on the other side of the illness really quickly.
Great.
All right. All right, Pat. Hey, you're the greatest. Stay in touch. I want to keep track of your progress, and life is good. We have time for one quick phone call. JJ from Florida is calling in with a testimonial. I think, JJ, you're live.
Hey, Dr. Glidden. How you doing, sir?
Pretty good, man. We've got a minute and a half, so talk to me.
Oh, we fired our dentist. And I thought you'd get a kick out of that. My wife had massive osteoporosis, receding gums, and she lost half her teeth, but all the rest of them hardened up. Actually, we have in mine too, and we just waltzed in there and said, "You're fired. We don't need you."
That's great.
She may have to get partial somewhere down the line, but she's feeling great, no pain, nothing. Okay, it's wonderful.
Isn't that remarkable? I know this stuff is remarkable, isn't it? I mean, this is the best kept secret in modern American medicine. And when people hear us talk about, oh, it sounds too good to be true, but then you hear the testimonials and you start to cry. Because, think of how many thousands of people there are in this country, just like your wife, suffering needlessly. I mean, needlessly.
Right.
That's right.
We told the MD today, we fired and you should have seen her face. Like a deer in the head.
That's why they have iPhones, man. Come on now.
She goes, I don't believe you. She goes, I don't believe. And then I said, you're calling me a liar? We were at Florida Hospital because my mom's up there. So
it's unbelievable.
Anyway,
Yeah, hey man, you're the greatest. The hubris of the MD is unimpeachable, right? It's breathtaking how arrogant these people are, even in the face of the truth. Hey, JJ, keep up the good work, man, and stay in touch. We're going to be compiling these success stories and writing a research project about it. I'm going to be talking about that next week. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. I'll see you next week. Remember, next week school is in session. We're going to start a health recovery program from A to Z. I'll see you then.